In the summer of 326 BC, a 30-year-old man sat inside a royal tent pitched near the borders of India. He didn't just rule a kingdom, he ruled almost every piece of land the Western world knew existed. He had never lost a single battle. He was viewed as a living god. Yet at the absolute peak of his power, he was weeping, not from injury and not from loss. According to ancient texts, Alexander the Great was crying because he looked out at the horizon, realized his conquests were coming to a natural geographic end, and muttered, "There are no more worlds left to conquer. How does a human being reach the absolute summit of mortal achievement, only to find nothing but emptiness at the top?" Today we look through the retro lens to uncover the psychological breakdown of history's most ambitious conqueror and the terrifying price he paid for it. Oh, understand Alexander's obsession, you have to understand how he was raised. He wasn't just born into royalty, he was engineered for empire. His father, King Philip of Macedon, built the most terrifyingly efficient military machine of the ancient world. His mother, Olympias, whispered in his ear that his real father wasn't Philip, but Zeus himself. By the time Alexander took the throne at just 20 years old, he didn't just want to rule Greece. He believed it was his divine right to swallow the Persian Empire whole. And he did. With a force of just 40,000 men, he marched into the heart of an empire that controlled millions. At Issus and Gaugamela, he broke the Persian war machine through sheer, reckless tactical genius. He didn't command safety from the back. He rode at the very front of his cavalry, taking spears and arrows to his own armor. He was unstoppable. But here's the side of the story the textbooks skip. The further east Alexander marched, the more the God King began to unravel. As the miles piled up, so did the paranoia. He began forcing his Greek generals to bow to him on the floor like an Eastern deity. When his closest friend, Clytus, criticized his ego during a drunken banquet, Alexander lost control. He snatched a pike from a guard and drove it straight through Clytus's chest. The man who had once saved Alexander's life in battle was dead by his own hand. The moment the alcohol wore off, horror set in. Alexander locked himself in his tent for 3 days, refusing to eat, weeping over the corpse. He wasn't just fighting empires anymore. He was running from his own mind, driving his army forward through monsoons and deserts, desperately searching for the end of the earth. In India, his men finally broke. They had marched over 17,000 miles. They were bleeding, diseased, and homesick. For the first time in his life, Alexander faced a battle he couldn't win, a mutiny by his own men. Forced to turn back, the thrill of the chase was gone. The empire was won, but the void inside him remained completely empty. In June of 323 BC, gripped by a sudden, violent fever, the 32-year-old conqueror lay on his deathbed. His generals gathered around him, desperate, asking who should inherit his massive empire. Alexander raised his head one last time and whispered his final, chaotic words, "To the strongest." Within years of his death, his generals tore his empire to pieces in a series of brutal civil wars. Alexander conquered the world, but he never learned how to conquer himself. If you want to unlock the raw, real stories behind history's greatest legends, hit that subscribe button right now. See you next time on The Retro Lens.